All right, let's dive in, guys. Plenty to talk about today. But first, a reminder that FanDuel, later this month on August 26th, it is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, so whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before Week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is a one-day only event. FanDuel, play your game when you want on America's #1 sportsbook. So, guys, right before we got off the air yesterday, we got the official announcement from the Cleveland Browns that Joe Flacco will be their Week 1 starting quarterback. I don't think any of us are shocked by that news. I think it's what we all anticipated. So before we advance this discussion to the next part, I want to give you guys a chance, Bull. I know you instant reacted to it yesterday on your podcast. You did a show this morning, but give us your initial reaction to the Browns naming Joe Flacco their starting quarterback before we dive into the rest of what that means for everyone else.
Guys, I think this was the obvious choice. This was the choice that made the most sense. I know there's, we'll never know for sure. I know, Jason and a few others thought that the team wanted to start Kenny Pickett. We'll never know for sure if that was the case or not. Obviously, when he got hurt, that went out the window because he hasn't played. It never made sense for either of the rookies to start. First of all, the fact that there was 4 guys taking reps at different times, whatever you think about the distribution of reps, those guys just didn't get enough reps to be ready to play Week 1 of the season. Mm-hmm. And just in general, how often does a rookie quarterback that's not a first-round pick play Week 1? I mean, it's a rarity. It doesn't happen very often. And what's the rush? I understand as part of some, they might draft a quarterback next year. The bottom line is, I don't think it would benefit either of these rookie quarterbacks to play Week 1. Especially, I know the Bengals' defense isn't very good, but there's going to be pressure to keep up with Joe Burrow. You're playing some really good defenses the first 6 weeks. I think it always made total sense for Joe Flacco to play. Not only does he give them the best chance to win, he also sometimes in the media, sometimes as a fan, you're like, well, the team's going to stink anyway. What's the difference? The players, as you guys know better than anybody, the players don't think that way. Players want to win. Mm-hmm. And all the veteran players were like, well, Joe, we got a chance, right? It feels like we got a guy who's a pro. He's not that he's not going to make mistakes. He's going to get picked off, we know. But, the defense is not going to throw anything at him that he hasn't seen before. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be, fooled in that way. So for professionalism and stability, it always made sense for Joe Flacco to start. I would have announced it sooner, but I'm glad they did.
I go back and look at this, and this was always what I thought. If I go back to the beginning, and people talked about Pickett, and I said, hey, that's it's a good signing. If they want to figure out what they got, but he's not better than Joe Flacco. He's just not. I never saw it. The only thing I think Pickett is better at is mobility and moving the pocket a little bit. But other than that, Joe had all of the, even when you talk about the rookies, even, Shedeur, he goes and talks to Joe. He says, the Browns had a little video up about the quarterback competition. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, man, I be just watching Joe Flacco and I be looking at some of the stuff he do. And I try to emulate it a little bit. And, for the younger guys, it's like this. I've always felt like the competition was, who's the guy after Joe? That was the main issue for me. The main competition is who's that second shot for me.
Yeah.
So Joe is there, but I'll give you a quick example. When I went to OU, I felt like I was going to go to a bigger school than was at OU. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, I was on a warpath. I was like, oh no, I'm about to practice. Y'all going to have to see me every week. And I remember there was a guy in front of me. Shout out to Andre Parker. He went to Cincinnati Whitten Woods. He says he was ahead of me. He broke his hand, and they had another injury. And they had planned on redshirting me. And so I went out in the first little scrimmage we had. They were like, yeah, we got these things called bonus points. I said, how you going to tell me I'm from McKinley? I'm Mr. Bonus Points. What are you talking about? So we go out there, and they're like, you had the most bonus points we've ever seen production-wise. Look at this. The coach is up there like, this is a freshman. Look at he's doing all this other stuff. We go through the practice. I'm in the twos now. I called my dad. I said, it's a wrap. We playing Minnesota. We got Iowa State. Give me my travel suit. Man, they came to me a week before and said, yeah, man, we're going to put Andre Parker's his wrist in a cast and we're going to play him. I said, what? What you talking about? I said, I've been killing. I'm him. Before him. I can't say that. I'm sorry. That's blasphemous a little bit. I'm him right now. They was like, yeah, let me tell you something. Do you want to play when you start every game and never come out? Or you just want to be on the travel team and look around? If we put you on the travel team and look around, what good does that do? You just wasted a year. You're doing nothing. And I said, you know what? It sucked. It didn't make no sense to me at the time. But as I look back, the very next year, the entire coaching staff left, right? So I was like, wow, what if the entire coaching staff would have left? I would have had a whole nother year, and I would have just been wasting a year eligibility. So sometimes you get what you need, not what you want. And the thing that I always got, Tyvis, was that year I felt relieved because I didn't have to, right? Like I didn't have to play. Like it wasn't like in my mind, physically I was ready to do it. But mentally, emotionally, I was like, man, I got to go to class too. And I didn't like going to class.
You was one of them.
Oh, no. I didn't. I was like, hold on. So you meaning to tell me I got to be in class all day and then go lift? Nah, one of these classes is going to get missed. So I had to learn, like.
He was cutting class?
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't know why I graduated. I tell I used to tell them all I need is a syllabus.
C's get degrees.
Yeah. I said,
Darn right.
I said, I got to lift these weights, but it was the best thing for me. And if you Shedeur Sanders or you Dillon Gabriel, whatever the case may be, now you got that runway, that 5 game runway where now you watching and seeing the mistakes and how Stefanski don't like certain things and like it. So it's a blessing in disguise, I think a lot, but I'm anxious to see the next part of the conversation, who the next person up. But Flacco, we know.
With Flacco being named, I was relieved because for a long time, Jason and Zach and everybody's come in and they said that Flacco looked the best out of the 4 quarterbacks. So when everybody kept throwing the Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel thing in the conversation, it had me a little hesitant because, you hear Jason and Jason, when Jason talks, like he's speaking from a business part of it. He's speaking about the front office and stuff because he does know that. Like,
yeah.
And what he's saying is 100% right, where it's like, the fans that's like, what's the point of being good? Like, you don't do yourself no good from being 7-10 or 8-9 this season because now you're moving yourself away from potentially drafting a franchise quarterback. And when I hear him talk like that, I know he's 100% right with saying that. But the athlete and the competitor and me being in the locker room, like, that's never been a conversation. Like, that type, losing games has never been a thing that I've ever heard in the locker room. So when I speak, I'm speaking for the people that's playing on the team. And if they would have named anybody but Joe the starter, it would have then echoed what Jason was saying.
Yes.
So for me to see that Joe is the starter tells me, like, at least the locker room and Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff, at least they all on the same page.
At least they ain't crazy.
We trying to win. Like, I know what the front office may want and what might be best for us years from now, but we trying to win. So when I seen him named it, I was like, okay, so they are trying to win games. As far as the other guys go, you hit that right on the head. I think for some odd reason, when I look at these 2 quarterbacks, the 2 younger guys, I look at it as I think subconsciously Kevin may feel like he did some of the younger guys he had, like DTR. Like I feel like he may have wronged them a little bit. There's mixed reports out with why DTR wasn't able to survive here or why he didn't thrive here and all these things. But I think Kevin looks at it probably like, that's on me. Like, at the end of the day, that's on me. I'm supposed to be this quarterback whisperer and all this guru stuff, and this kid looked the way he looked. So his career is what it is because of me or what I didn't do. So I think with these 2 young guys, he's really hand walking and slow walking this process because he want to make sure they get it right before they go out there. I think the DTR thing is he kind of just got forced into the role and he became what he was. But these 2 guys, especially with Shedeur, for whatever reason, he must see something special in him. Like, Shedeur is the ultimate gamer. Like, I don't know. In practice, he looks great, but in the games, he's just special in the games. And I think they recognize that, and I think that that's why he's, like, trying to really slow walk before he gives them the reins to go. He's really hand walking him through this process. You think about the Joe Thomas coming out and saying, like, even when the ones was on, and the twos was on the field, Kevin stood behind Shedeur to watch him take reps to see what he's seeing. Like, I think he really is trying to get into that developmental part of him and Dillon Gabriel. So I say all that to say I was relieved with Joe Flacco being named the starter.
Tyvus, you made some great points there, especially the fact that you learn as a coach, or whatever you're doing. We learn as broadcasters. The longer you do something, the better you are at it. No, you know, you may have a limit to how good you can be, but the longer you do something, the more you're going to improve.
Yeah.
And the Browns have been, you know, and even though there have been times in the last year where I'm like, forget Stefanski, he's a bum and blah, blah. The bottom line is, in general, it's good to stick with a coach.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're probably right. He's probably looking back at the things he did wrong, and he's like, I can't do it with these guys. And I know this sounds crazy. I thought all along there'd be no chance the Browns keep four quarterbacks. And I still am not convinced that they will keep 4 quarterbacks.
I think they'll have 4 on the initial.
Yeah.
We talk about when you go against Cincinnati, I don't think it'll be 4.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
So who's the odd man out then?
Well, I'll say this.
You know who the odd man out is. The one that's in the tub. That's by default.
But here's the thing. We just all agreed, right, that it's better for Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel not to play right away. Mm-hmm. Right? We're all on the same page with that. I would keep Kenny Pickett if I could. You guys know how I feel about him. I don't think he's any good. But if Joe Flacco gets hurt in the first week or two, now we're force-feeding those rookies when we didn't want to do that.
So how it goes.
And I would rather not do that. So I would keep Kenny Pickett for that situation. And then after a few weeks, 4 weeks in, then I'd move on.
I'm willing to say this, and I don't mean to say this.
Yeah.
But just history says this.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco will get hurt at some point this year.
Probably will.
He's 40,
He's probably going to get hurt.
I'm 43. I get out of bed.
Yeah, but 5-6 weeks in,
I
could go to the
I think it might be before that because for some odd reason, anytime that there is a quarterback that's in the weeds that people want to see, something happens to the starter.
It does seem
every
to happen.
time. Every time. You got to go out there.
Is that good? What if Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders have to play game 2? Is that good?
Big boy work.
Is it good against Baltimore? I guess we'll find out. I think that, at the end of the day, what you will find out is, are you going to sink or swim?
That's it.
You're going to get thrown in the fire. What do you do?
Let me ask you this, Paul.
It's not fair. I don't like it, but that's what's going to happen in that situation.
Going off that exact same thought process, we got a Behind the Glass coming out later today where we actually discussed part of this earlier this morning.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm curious if you guys agree. After week 6, if the Browns make any kind of quarterback change, in my opinion, it has to be towards one of the rookies to get a sense if you're going to evaluate. Then you move on
from Kenny Pickett.
So I said this morning, and you guys should watch Behind the Glass, I understand the reasoning to keep Kenny Pickett on early, but to me, you got to see these rookies play later in the year.
Yeah.
So that puts Pickett in a weird situation as kind of the odd man out.
Yeah.
After week 6, and you could use week 5, I use week 6 as just an arbitrary number. Do you have any interest in seeing Kenny Pickett play after that date? Okay,
Zero.
so you guys are on Tyvus.
The only reason I would want to keep Kenny Pickett is purely to not have to rush the rookies. That's it. That's the only reason. Not because I want to see him play.
If my theory about what Kevin is doing with the 2 young guys is true, they will keep 4.
Right.
If what I'm saying is that he looked at what happened to DTR and he takes that as personal, like I messed that up, I shouldn't have threw him out there against – what was his first start? Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
DTR's first game was against Baltimore. We didn't know he was starting.
And he was terrible. He probably looked at it like, that's my fault. I shouldn't have never had him. I should have had somebody for that situation.
Right.
If he feels that way, they will keep Kenny Pickett to get past the rough part of the season.
The only way – and here's the thing. I know we keep looking at the schedule. One day my dad told me we was playing St. Ignatius. And we was playing them, and we was they were great. They was winning. Coach Kyle was winning championships,
Shout out
and
to
it was
Chuck Kyle.
It was my first time playing at Ignatius, and we was on the way to school, and we was listening to the radio, and they're like, yeah, they just rattling off St. Ignatius stats and how they're just number so and so in the country. And my dad turns the radio off and says, listen, you ain't playing the Dallas Cowboys. You're not playing a bunch of bears or mountain lions. These are regular kids that go to the same class as you.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah. It changed my whole mindset. I said, you is right. So when we're looking at Shedeur Sanders, and it's the Baltimore Ravens, and this the NFL. Like, Shedeur Sanders or whoever is going to be at quarterback, if you got to have that, ain't at no circumstances am I telling Joe Burrow or Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We found out that they was them by doing what? Going through the fire. You got to go through the fire. You can't choose and pick and choose and say, well, let me wait this out until like the 7th game. Either you got it or you don't at some point in time, because what Tyver said is accurate. Yes, practice counts, but the only way you find out about a person is when them lights come on. You can talk about all that other stuff, but when the lights come on, it's there. It's either there or it's not. My thing is, I just keep it a buck. Sometimes we can't live in our fears, and we can't live in what somebody else didn't do. I get the DTR played bad. Well, DTR played bad in another place too. Sometimes you can play bad and you can just be bad.
Well, that's not fair. It's still preseason.
Oh, no, DTR looked terrible.
With us in the
That's
preseason,
true.
he was
You're saying
unbelievable.
just get rid of Kenny Pickett and play the rookie.
Oh, listen.
If Joe gets hurt.
What I am saying is I believe both of those rookies are better than Kenny Pickett in real life.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not so I was just talking about this last night. I said, when you ask about Kenny Pickett's, just all boil it down, boil the stuff away. Your record don't look good. Your statistics don't be looking good. You wasn't blowing nobody away in practice. Yet your touchdown to interception rating ain't like that. And the Philadelphia Eagles traded you for DTR, one of the worst quarterbacks in the game, in a 5th round pick. So the thing we got to do as Cleveland Browns fans is we can't have this inferiority complex where we take anybody's leftovers because they're just better somehow. If you playing the Steelers, how you gonna play the Steelers and they already better than you, but you take their leftovers and try to refurbish?
But I don't think it's about. I don't think, at least from my perspective, I don't think most people feel this way. Like I just want Kenny Pickett here because I don't want to force the rookies to play before they're ready. If you think they got to be ready to go, then why not play them in week 1?
I would.
Oh, so you would. Okay.
Like this is if it's me, if the rookies were at the same level as Joe Flacco, I'd play them. I wouldn't care if they would. I wouldn't care if they had the experience or not.
Okay.
Not so, but obviously
If
they're
on
not
the same level. You always play the
right.
younger guy.
So my thing is, there's nothing in the and the thing that I always have a hard time about. Can y'all answer me this question? They told the young guys they had to earn it, right? Remember? They got to earn it. They got to come in. They got to do this. Things like do all this stuff.
Isn't that always the case?
But how is Kenny Pickett second on the depth chart, and what has he earned?
Well, Kenny Pickett was the only quarterback on this roster outside of Deshaun Watson before any of the other people got here. So by default,
they
probably went in there like, all right, he was first here type stuff. Like he's
But
been around.
Second on the depth chart because he's a veteran too.
But at some point, as a veteron, right, you have to show
I hear you,
why.
but depth chart doesn't matter right now. I don't think that matters.
The thing with Kenny Pickett, first of all, to poke a hole in your theory about the young guys being better than Kenny, I don't know that because the one thing with Kenny has actually played in meaningful games and made meaningful plays in meaningful games. To where the young guys, we're judging them off of preseason against 2s and 3s. Yes, Shedeur had a series against the ones with Carolina. Yes, 3 and out.
Not even full games.
It was 3 and out. So that's kind of a wash when people bring that up to me. But those are 2s and 3s. You will admit, players in there, they're 2s and 3s for a reason.
I'll give you this though. Watch this. if you're going to say they're playing against 2s and 3s, right, you can only play against who they give you the reps for.
I agree.
So if they come in, if the coach comes in and says, hey, we got this guy last week, we're going to play him.
So why?
And the other people,
So the reason they haven't played in the regular season.
The reason
so
why this is why I kept saying the joint practice was so important to me. Because I don't know, did Dillon Gabriel take reps with the ones in the joint practice? No, because he had the hamstring issue, so we missed out on it. And I know Shedeur didn't, because for some reason Shedeur don't get one rep.
All I'm saying is sometimes this happens.
Yeah.
There's a theory where you get people, and because they come to your program, you overestimate their overall value because they're right here looking at you. Nobody in the world before today thought Kenny Pickett was moving no needles, nowhere. If you would have said we playing Kenny Pickett,
that's a fact.
We got Kenny Pickett.
I still feel like that, though.
Feel that way.
So all I'm expressing is this. For me, if I want to see it. I'm a see it person.
Oh, me too.
If Kenny is healthy,
play him.
He got to play.
He need to play Saturday. Yes, I agree.
Let's be honest right now. None of the 4 quarterbacks the Browns have are moving needles for other teams right now.
No.
Shedeur is.
Yeah.
Not in like, oh, we got to play against Shedeur. I'm concerned.
No.
But it'll be the most viewed game they have all year.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about, Mike. We're not talking about.
No, he's talking about as an opponent.
As an
if
opponent.
you knew you was
sorry,
going against
I-
one of these quarterbacks, which one
I
would
was
you be
thinking
like,
needle
oh.
in terms of
No,
attention. You're
of course
talking,
he moves the needle.
Sorry,
None of these guys, like no team is like, oh my God, we got to face any of these quarterbacks. Like nobody's concerned.
Yeah.
Not right now. Doesn't mean Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel in the future can't be.
If you
not
go
right
over
now.
that, Joe Flacco would be the closest one
Right.
to give you something.
But still.
But to me also the bigger picture is here. There is no need when you build a roster, right? You build a roster based on slotting different positions, and you want to spread the wealth. If you got a roster and you understand that I want a veteran, I need a veteran presence. You already have that. You've named him the starter.
Yeah. So you just cut Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett is redundant.
If the Browns believe that either Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel or both are ready to play if Joe Flacco gets hurt, then I agree, then I would cut Kenny Pickett. If they believe neither is ready to play a regular season game, then I would stick with Kenny Pickett as the backup. That to me. I mean, and it has nothing to do with how good I think Kenny Pickett is, even though I think he stinks. And personally, I think Dillon Gabriel is going to be another Kenny Pickett. He's going to be a
long-term back,
somewhere between the 30th and 40th best quarterback in the league. You don't want him to start. He might start here.
Spot starter.
That's not what I want. I think Shedeur has the upside. I don't know how good Shedeur is going to be. I'm not convinced he's going to be great. I'm not convinced he's not going to be great. But I want to see it somewhere down the line because I think he's the only one. But forget Flacco, he's old. Of the other 3, I think Shedeur's got the most upside. I want to see him at some point, but not yet.
I just feel my only issue with the Kenny Pickett making the team is the NFL coined the phrase "you can't make the club in the tub."
Right?
How are you telling me this man is gonna make the team and he ain't did nothing? Like it just don't sit right. It just don't sit well with me.
Is he supposed to practice?
So I can go get hurt and then still make the team. Like that. Where they do that at?
In that case, you'd have had 18 contracts.
Well, if you're good, he's not good. So.
That's what I'm saying. If he was if this was Patrick Mahomes or something,
Matt
I'd
Stafford
understand.
hasn't practiced yet. Matt Stafford's going to make that.
That's Stafford.
Kenny Pickett does not have that status.
No, but again, the only reason I would keep him is if I don't want to put the rookies in if Flacco gets hurt. To me, that's the only reason to keep Kenny
This
Pickett.
week going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I need to hear something.
I don't think he's going to play this week.
Stefanski is talking later today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will get some information on how healthy these guys are and at least can we expect to see them in the
Good
preseason
luck with
game.
that.
I know it's a lot to ask for. Just a little bit of truth and clarity from the head ball coach, but we will do our best. All right,